Let's get the show started. I have my guest seated already who will be joining me to look into ICT, information and communication technology. But before we start up the conversation, let's take a run through what ICT really is. Now, ICT, or information and communication technology, or technologies, is the infrastructure and component that enables modern computing. Among the goals of technologies, tools and systems to improve the way humans create, process and share data or information with each other. Another is to help them improve their abilities in numerous areas, including businesses, education, medicine, railroad, problem solving, and even leisure activities related to sport, music, and movies. There is no single or universal definition of ICT because the technologies, devices, and even ideas related to ICT are constantly evolving. However, the term is generally accepted to mean all devices, networking, components, and applications. When combined, these help people and organizations interact with the digital world. Here, organizations also has the broad definition since it encompasses businesses and non-profit agencies, government and other, even criminal enterprise. Wow, even criminal enterprise. Anyone can benefit from the proper application and use of ICT technologies, devices, and innovation. ICT encompasses the internet-enabled space and the mobile one powered by wireless networks. It includes antiquated technologies such as landline, telephone, radio, and television broadcast, all of which remains widely used alongside today's cutting-edge ICT pieces, such as artificial intelligence, AI, and robotics, the Internet of Things, metaverse, visual reality, and social media are also parts of ICT. As a cloud computing service, video conferencing, and collaboration tools, unified communication system, and mobile communication networks. Emerging work in progress or still nascent technologies like 5G, 6Gs, Web3, and quantum computing are also part of ICT universe. Anyway, technology infrastructure, component, or device that enables communications, data sharing, and the global connectivities between humans and machines is included in the umbrella term of ICT, that is information and communication technology. A chart identifying key components of ICT. This chart identifies several key categories that are components of information and communication technology. The acronym ICT is sometimes used synonymously with IT. However, ICT is generally used to represent a more comprehensive list of all components related to computer and digital technologies. It is more about managing the technologies related to information and its various technological aspects, including software, hardware, and networking. IT management does not only include considerations of telecommunication devices and technologies, while ICT does. IT can be considered as a subset of ICT. Joining me this afternoon for us to take a detailed look of ICT, IT, whichever you want to call it, I have Bright Neto. Bright Neto is the CEO of ONT Multimedia. He's an entrepreneur, a school administrator, someone who have won many awards, including the United Nations Award for what again?
The World Bank.
Okay, World Bank.
Yes,
Okay.
You know, Social Inclusion Heroes Award.
All right, thank you, Bright. Okay, nomination. Okay,
yeah.
Thank you for joining me.
Thank you.
You heard me read out ICT and what it stands for.
Okay.
As someone who is into multimedia, we want to really look how we can generate money out of it as a nation. We've seen different persons going into ICT, whether you call it content creation, call it anything you want to call it. People are just into it. What are your thoughts on this?
Well, thanks for that.
All right.
You see, when it comes to ICT,
Yeah.
it's actually a very broad topic that we can spend an entire day talking about.
Yeah.
You know, but looking at the question you've asked, how we can make money from it, also that is another area that we can spend an entire day talking about because it's very, very broad.
Yeah.
But one thing is noteworthy, that the money-making potentials of ICT, they are numerous.
Okay.
Yes, and I think it's important for our government to give more attention, to prioritize ICT across all boards. When you look at, before we even talk about how individuals make money from ICT, when you look at Nigeria as a country, you see that the revolution, the ICT revolution in Nigeria's economy has been something that you cannot talk about the growth of Nigeria to this point without talking about ICT. When you look at before 1999 or around 1999, the GDP of Nigeria was around 59 billion US dollars. But between 1999 and date till today, which is about 24 years, 23 years,
24 years.
We've added over 440 billion US dollars. Even though this GDP growth comes from every other factors of the economy, it is evident that ICT has accounted for the major addition that we have experienced in terms of our GDP. Yes, and it has opened up a lot of things in our economy. It has helped the economy of our country to develop in so many areas, be it in education, be it in foreign direct investment, be it in banking, be it in agriculture, health, what have you. All right, we have seen the impact of ICT, and it has helped let's even look at the foreign direct investment, for instance, because you asked a question of how we can make money from it.
Out of it.
When you look at the country today, talking about the direct investment potential of ICT, most of the production centers, all right, and factories we have in the country at the moment, most of them have been supported through direct investment. That's to tell you how ICT has attracted direct investment into our economy. So most of these factories and production centers have direct funding support from companies abroad. All right, and we have seen how multinationals are cooperating with local businesses, local organizations to expand processes and make information accessible and make processes shorter, make operations better, smoother, and life more convenient, for everyone.
Okay. Now, you've said so much about it. Another question is, with the way we are going as a nation, do you think we're really ready to embrace ICT fully? Because it's a situation whereby your conversation, because what I read through have so much embedded in it, both your telecommunication conversation and all that. Now, with the way some informations are leaked, or where some informations get out of the space, do you think we're really ready to utilize ICT positively as a nation?
Well, if we are ready as a nation for ICT, the people, I think, are ever ready. All right, so, but I think even as a nation, I think we are ready, even though we have challenges, all right, which I can say has to do with the part of the government, because it's all about policies. We need to have a government that is proactive. Okay, look at many nations of the world, particularly the most powerful nations of the world. They've prioritized ICT. Today, just to encourage young people who are in ICT and experts, there are countries like France, like Canada, like US and the UK, who even have special visa programs. So people who are experts in ICT or who have startup companies that are into ICT. That's to tell you how important, how important they take ICT. And if we have these nations who have seen the importance, the value that ICT has, brings to society and the world at large, I think Nigeria should follow suit and copy that. So we need to have a government that prioritize ICT, and to show that, to demonstrate that, we must see it being implemented, policies being implemented, and ICT being inculcated in our school curriculum, not just at the tertiary level, but even at the primary, levels of education.
Okay.
You know, it's saddening to know that even while I was in the university, you know, they used to have the computer
engineering department and computer science department.
No, for everyone, I think under CE, is it CED?
CED, yeah.
I think there's always an
entrepreneurship
course.
Yeah.
CED and the computer science course that's like an elective, right? All through the one session of that course, there was never a time we were taught with computers. You had to read it.
So what were they teaching?
All right, you had to read it theoretically and pass the exam based on theories you've read.
Yeah,
so it doesn't show a government that is taking ICT seriously. Even in primary schools, we are supposed to have practical, hands-on teaching, demonstration of how people should use computer. This is how you start training these children from when they are young, so that as they grow, it becomes part of them. All right, that's how nations like India and like China, like the US, they have been able to grow and expand. And today they are leading the rest of the world because they are way ahead in terms of ICT. So any nation that is serious about global impact, global dominance, global relevance must take their ICT seriously, and it begins from primary education. Okay, so we need to look into that. Government policies have to favor the learning of ICT, needs to favor investment in these areas. You find that many of the startups you have in Nigeria today, they are even existing because companies abroad funded them. Right? So we should have grants that support startups in tech. All right. If nations are calling people, nations like France are saying, if you have a startup that is into ICT or you are an expert, come, we'll give you visa. Come, you are welcome. It's like that's another aspect, part of a kind of brain drain. So, and
outside the medical brain drain,
our governments need, when we talk about brain drain, it's not just about in the area of medicine.
No, we always target so much to medicine.
So nations are already beginning to sap Nigeria of our brains in the area of tech.
Okay, we have to go on a short break. This conversation continues after the break. We'll have so much more to talk about ICT, social media, content creation, and all that. All right, welcome back. And State Business this week was still taking a critical look into information and communication technology, ICT. And I still have my guest seated, Bright Neto, who is the CEO of ONT Multimedia, an entrepreneur, school administrator, someone who's been nominated for so many awards, including the World Bank award as well. So he has so many caps tied to his feathers, as they say. So we've already gone through the ICT and etc. Now let's look into multimedia, your field basically. Now, do you think more should also be done in that aspect? Do people really have interest into this aspect of ICT?
Yes, there are a lot of persons showing interest in that area, and in fact, it's a necessity. It's inevitable. The truth is that if you have a business, for instance, and you are not interested in ICT, you're not interested in multimedia, leveraging on the potentials of this aspect of our lives to push your business, just expect your business to go into extinction. In the near future. So I can tell you that if you look at digital marketing, for instance, any business that is not on the internet space, that is not taking advantage of digital marketing, all right, in the next 5 years, that business may not exist anymore. So it's as serious as that. And so, but today, good enough, we have a lot of persons who are beginning to embrace these realities, and that's one of the things that our company does, trying to get people to embrace our new reality. That, come on, I think in 2020, we had, when there was this lockdown, I remember
the COVID lockdown.
Yes, COVID lockdown. I remember how I was able to show a couple of friends how they could put their business on the website and still be able to sell their products online, even though they were at home and their businesses were physically shut, but they were still able to sell online. All right, so people are beginning to embrace this reality, and we find businesses taking advantage of the digital space to market their product, that Today, it doesn't matter where you are.
Yeah.
You can sell to anybody, anywhere. All right. So, and it's a new reality that we have come to embrace and accept.
Yeah.
And you find it's really, really broad. All right. Someone who is into business has to learn how to market on the digital space, which includes not just social media, all right, every other medium that it entails. And we find businesses thriving now because they've embraced these new realities. Yeah. We have I have a friend who lives in who lives in Uyo. I remember those days after service. Yeah. He would buy things from China. He didn't have a shop. He would just buy them, import them from China, and keep them in his house. And from his house, he sells them to different states in Nigeria. And he was making millions from that. All right. So that's to tell you the impact of multimedia, the impact of digital marketing on businesses. Yeah. So it has come to stay. And we are preaching that more people should begin to embrace it. It doesn't matter what you do. Yeah. Whether you are in education, I'll tell you one thing that I've done. Okay. Particularly, you know, I'm an educationist. Yeah. All right. Aside my involvement in multimedia, absolutely. I'm a school administrator and I'm an adult literacy expert. Yeah. You know, I think some years ago, we used to get people who would tell us that they want to learn how to read and write, but they are in far places. Some of them outside Edo State, outside, far from our centers in Benin. True. You know, here in Edo State, this is noteworthy. We have some people who, those days of human trafficking, they left Edo State, Nigeria. They were, you know, trafficking for greener pastures, Italy, Spain, Germany. Some of those people didn't know how to read and write before they were taken out of Nigeria. Now they are doing well. They want to be able to read and write, but they don't know how to go about it. Using digital space, I was able to create a method, a system that enables me to make anybody literate anywhere in the world. Wow. So today we have these people coming, and within a short time, just sitting in my studio, I'm able to make them literate digitally. And this is something that has worked. I'm using this as an example because this is education. Absolutely. It has also worked for other people. When you go to hospitals now, when you do your test, before you're done, they tell you they've posted the result. You go to your doctor, right, in the consultation room, and the result is already there with the doctor, which wasn't so. Absolutely. You find you go even schools now, you do assignments online. So these are the realities that we have today, and people just have to learn them. When there is a change, what do? You try to adapt to the new dynamics and make the most of it.
Okay. Yeah. So let's now look into another part which is very trendy right now. The whole skit making, people going into content creation. Yeah. So that is also a part of the ICT. Yes. Do you think people need to be more empowered, or do you think the government need to be more involved in some of these things to help ameliorate the whole unemployment in the society?
Absolutely. In fact, if I were the government, I would set up a grant or a kind of special funding to encourage people in this area. Okay. All right. So look at what we did the other time when we organized the training, and we had God bless my friend Dr. Gregory Azemubo, who was able to, through his NGO, sponsored over 100 youth to our trainings, and these people came willing to learn. And some of them already are into content creation right now, trying to make ends meet and improve their lives, right, and quality of living. So there's so much to be made. It's a very, very, it's an area that has huge money-making potential, right? Going into content creation, digital marketing, this is an area that, in fact, I encourage every young person to go into, particularly or most especially are young people who are into fraud. You find that these people, listen, when somebody is doing something, when you are doing something good or something bad, it takes some level of intelligence, some level of energy, some level of doggedness, all right, to be able to do that. Yeah. And so when I look at some of those people who are into fraud, I just think that they have been misguided,
exactly.
So it's energy misappropriated.
Absolutely.
So, but with encouraging them to do a shift and go into content creation. We are trying to reorient them,
their minds,
and rechannel them, you know, from the
negative
path
to the positive,
right path, all right?
Yeah.
So that they can start solving today's societal problems as well as emerging ones. And content creation is one way to encourage these people. It's not enough for you to use EFCC to arrest them.
To look for them everywhere.
Create an alternative. Somebody said the best way to kill a bad habit is to replace it with another habit.
Wow.
Yes. So if you find yourself doing something that is negative, when you replace that replace it with something else, that time you're supposed to do that thing negative, you are doing something else, and you are consistent. Within a short time, you find yourself not interested in that anymore.
Absolutely.
So we need the government to encourage our young people to go into ICT, to go into content creation, digital marketing, and look at what our young guys are doing. These young CEOs who have set up startups that are in tech, all right, getting even international recognition.
Absolutely.
Okay, so content creation is one aspect of this broad, aspect of our lives that we really encourage people to go into. Yeah, and the good thing is that you earn in dollars. So no matter how bad the naira becomes, as long as
you have another currency.
Honestly speaking, when you're living in Nigeria and you're earning in dollar, it will be difficult for you to be affected by the inflation
and all that. But
the
dollar is not our official currency.
But it's to your advantage. If you're earning, look at what you could buy with what $1,000 could buy last year. Right now in Nigeria, right now $1,000 can actually buy 3 of that same thing.
I understand when you do conversion of the exchange rate and all that.
So, and that's one of the things we tell these people, that you are doing fraud because you want to make dollars, right? And you do this online. So why don't you do something else? Something else that is also an online job, all right? You also earn in dollar, but this time it's something legal, something legitimate. And then save yourself that guilt of
you now start running here and the EFCC is looking for you, understand? Okay. So let's now look at some of the challenges, because we're already pressed for time now, so we should be wrapping up in any moment from now. Let's look at some of the challenges. Is the environment favorable for ICT, for multimedia, for content creation? Just name them, everything embedded in ICT. With the way the economy is right now, with the way things are, like you said, exchange rate between the naira and the dollar, is the environment favorable for someone who is listening to you right now and want to say, okay, let me take a step into this?
The truth is that we have numerous opportunities in Nigeria.
Okay.
Yeah, numerous opportunities within Nigeria. That's Nigeria is they say in the darkest of night, right? The tiniest of light shines brightest. So Nigeria is actually a land of opportunities. Okay, it's just that we need government to begin to play the role that they're supposed to play, right, in these areas.
Like as the big
creating
brother.
a more enabling environment for startups to thrive, for young people going into setting up their businesses, going into entrepreneurship to be able to thrive. Okay, once we have this enabling environment, I tell you, the Nigerian youth that I know, in fact, the entire Nigerian people are very dogged people.
Absolutely.
Right? So particularly the Nigerian youth, we are full of energy. Look at what we are doing outside the shores of this country.
Absolutely.
Right? It's difficult to find a Nigerian who leaves these shores and feels outside this country.
True.
So because we have this self-motivation, we are self-motivated. And that's what, it's more than enough of what the government needs. So just create the enabling environment and see how these people will fly and put the nation on the global space. Okay. So
So let's now start wrapping up. Your final take for those who are already in this space. The challenge, because there's always a challenge in everything you do, no matter how sweet it looks like. Your advice to them, for them to remain, and advice to the regulatory body, let me say the government, because everything still boils down to the government, for people to have interest to go into it, and those that are already into it, for them to remain. Because if an environment is not favorable, people will want to pull out, you know. So what would be your final take to those in and the government as well?
Well, ICT has come to stay, and what I would just advise people is look at what you're doing and see how you can adapt to it and use it to your advantage. All right, and so to the government, we need policies that will encourage our people to continue to grow.
Okay.
Other nations of the world are doing it. Look at, if not for the enabling environment, companies like Meta, Facebook and Twitter, and the rest of them wouldn't have seen the light of day. Look at what China is doing. You're right. So we need to borrow, leave from these guys.
Okay.
Encourage our people. All right. It was Benjamin Disraeli that said that everything good has been done by you.
Absolutely.
Everything, or most of the great things you hear or you've ever heard that was done in the world was done by the youth.
Okay.
There's always been people in their youthful ages that have done it. The inventions, the postulations, just talk of it.
Yeah.
These are youths, and we need a government that is focused on the youth.
Okay.
Because once we have this government that understands the energy, the power of the youth, and are able to provide the right leadership, I tell you, Nigeria will stand tall amongst Committee of Nations.
Wow. Great one there. Thank you very much, Bright and Neto. It was a great time talking to you. With time, we'll still get to have more conversations of this type, because the youth were pretty more interested in conversations like this in order to drive their daily activities. Thank you so much. Bright and Neto is the CEO of ONT Multimedia, an entrepreneur, a school administrator, who joined me on the show this afternoon, taking a critical look into ICT, information and communication technology. That's how far we can go on the show this afternoon. God willing, next week we'll be back again with something more robust and bigger for you on the show. On behalf of the entire crew that made the show a success, we thank you for your time this afternoon. I'm Lawrence Osifo saying see you again. Bye for now.